Hello and welcome to Cartagena Marina. It's a bit of a bigger marina than we expected. It's really nice though, really friendly. I think we're going to enjoy our time here.
Absolutely, and it's right next to town, which is great because we're going to be here for the next few months. It's also full of history, which we've really been enjoying, so I hope you like the film. Coming up, 4 generations of our family enjoying the late summer sun. A hike up the mountain to a place not many people go to. And a Roman battle in the middle of the town. It looks like a film set.
Lovely day to be coming in just under mainsail. So this is it, we've arrived in Cartagena. This will be our winter base. You can see there you've got 2 breakwaters we just go between, and then there's sort of a bit of a harbour before you get to the marina, which is the one on the right that we're going to YPC. Looks lovely, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. There's a fort up at the top of the hill there I've been looking at, so that's one climb I'll do, I think. And the town ahead.
So it's the right hand of the 2 marinas. There's plenty of space in there, so we can just drop the sail as we come around.
Okay. Finding it difficult to see over this bimini. I'll have to work out how to do that. Get myself a little bit higher.
Find it there.
We floated in at about 3 knots. Plenty of time to get the main inside the harbour wall. That's always useful to know if we're ever coming back in bad weather in the winter. When we arrived, so did help from one of our new neighbours. Thank you. And a finger berth. Things are looking up. We chose this marina because it's sheltered and secure. Finger ID security, the first time I've seen that, and most important, the town on the doorstep. Perfect. There are a few liverboards here and the odd super yacht. It's not often you see a boat with 5 spreaders.
Ideally we'd keep cruising till about November, not least because September, October are 2 of the best months to cruise in the Med once the crowds have gone and the silly prices that you get in some of the marinas, certainly here in the Western Med, have dropped down to reasonable levels. And of course you can just keep cruising all winter, but you do get some pretty bad weather coming through. This lightning was a couple of nights ago, and it had torrential rainstorm and hailstones the size of marbles. It wasn't just a quick shower either. This was something that went on all night, caused a lot of flooding in the area and dropped a hell of a lot of water. Enough to fill the dinghy almost to the top. I had to bail out with a bucket before I could tip it up to get the rest of it out. And that's added a few jobs to the list that I've had. We had a hatch with a little annoying drip in it, and actually looking at the teak decks, you can see down here as the deck dries out, the bits that are slow to dry out are the bits where the water's getting through, maybe in the caulking, and might need looking at. So I'm going to recork that bit during the winter. It's going to be another job to add to the list, and we can give us a chance to explore Cartagena as well. One of the reasons we picked here is that it's an interesting place inland, and there's some good places to go to that quite close to here offshore. I mean, we could might even get across to Ibiza during the winter. It's just an overnight sail to there, and there's a little inland sea just north of here as well we might want to visit. Before that though, we've got some family coming out next week, the whole family, so that's going to be great.
The family with us for a week, and their priorities are clear.
It's not all about sunbathing.
Sunshine.
Go.
My mum decided she'd rather go ashore by dinghy, so we found a sandy beach around the corner.
Oh wait, there's rocks here
And is it called a string?
though. Yeah.
No. No?
It's called a painter, not string. I blame the parents. Nobody wants to go to look out. And after a long day's sailing, time for Spanish tapas.
Just in his mouth.
He's not so sure, but the others love it.
Lily's favourite, what are these?
Just the best food in Cartagena.
There is a real sense of history here and a lot of excavation still going on. The jewel in the crown is the recently rediscovered Roman amphitheatre. It's quite incredible, isn't it? 7,000 people could sit here. We've still got the stage. Some of the columns at the front and the back. Amazing.
It's pretty mind-blowing being in here. 2,000 years ago this was last looked like this, but it's actually only been in the last 20 years that they've brought it back to this, because it's been built on so many times. It's what you get the history of the place as you walk through the corridors leading up to here.
If you look at this picture, you can see these steps in the bottom right-hand corner. A similar picture from just 26 years ago shows how over the past 2,000 years the town has been built up on top of the amphitheatre and the steps were being used every day. Amazing! It was only in 1997 that archaeologists started to rediscover what lay beneath, and the beautiful amphitheatre was brought back to life.
Oh my gosh, look. The person on the balcony. Imagine having one of those flats in the 60s with an awful view of loads of other flats, and then come 1991 you've got a view of a gorgeous Roman amphitheatre.
What she should do, she should rent it out as an Airbnb. That would get some money in.
As part of the excavation, archaeologists have left a section which shows the layers of building materials. Ornate Roman carvings used as footings for the next generation of buildings.
Gladiadores y bailarines, desembarco, circo, tal, lo que en estos 10 días habitus.
Coincidentally, we arrive as the annual Roman festival begins. 10 days of marches through the town, which includes bands, stage plays, and a lot of dressing up. The first night was impressive. This is how the amphitheatre comes to life in the 21st century. And the next day they're getting ready for the Seine. On every street corner there's a Roman soldier. But enough of that for now. Steve has some work to do.
Not really ready to start our long list of winter jobs yet, but the girls have brought some bits and pieces out with them, one of which is this new water filter. So while they're out getting their nails done, I'm going to try and have a look at putting that in. We already have a filter on the galley tap. It's this one here, which is a really fine filter. It takes out everything, right down to bacteria level apparently. But the problem with it is it's very expensive. They're about £100 each and they last about 6 months. And someone had the really brilliant idea, it's something that came up on Facebook, of putting a much cheaper filter, one like this, upstream of the more expensive filter to catch the big stuff. So, you know, if you do get some dirty water in there, it's not immediately going to clog up your expensive filter. That's the idea anyway. Sounds like a good one. Should fit in here without too much trouble. Don't need any extra hoses, but I will need a trip to a Spanish plumber, I think, to get the right connectors.
While we've been spending time with family, which has been lovely, the marina's really been filling up. But one boat has always stood out for me, and it's that one, the wooden boat over there. It's owned by a man called Tim, who's lived here for a long time. So we're going to go and talk to him.
She's a cutter-rigged yawl designed by Guy Thompson, who was quite a well-known marine architect in the 60s.
Yeah, and the yawl, do you find that? I mean, I think it's a good idea, a yawl rather than a ketch, just to have.
Yeah.
You know, that. How do you find it to sail?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's very, very comfortable to sail. 3 of the sails look after themselves. I've got the boomed staysail. The mizzen behind me doesn't really stop anything happening. It stabilises the boat beautifully. So yeah, I mean, it's the first yawl I've sailed, but I love it.
You have got to have your wits about there, haven't you? Because you've got quite a low boom. You've got that club-footed staysail that can, both of which could wipe you off the deck any minute.
Yeah, I mean, she's not a boat you tack in often, or you know, you take precautions if you're on a jibe point because of that, of course. But you do that anyway. But certainly, she's not a boat to be heading upwind in short legs. You do it in big legs generally. And she's happy doing that.
Yeah. But you have bought a wooden boat. Now, pretty much all of us that have looked at boats have been sort of wooed by wooden boats, us included. We looked at a couple of wooden boats. Most of us haven't got the kahunas big enough to actually buy one, and you've done it. And not only that, you bought a wooden boat, but a varnished wooden boat.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's true. And if you'd have asked me while I was varnishing her in February and 50-mile-an-hour winds in Guisson in France, then I might have had a different view. But it was 2 weeks, sanding and varnishing. I think I'm up to 14 sanders now I've had to buy because they just burn out, or you need a different one. But no, a lot of people give up and go for paint.
It is pretty, isn't it? Was it the aesthetic?
Largely, yeah. But she's also a sailor's boat. She was built and designed in the 60s, and at a time when sailing was more perhaps hands-on than it is now. And I'm attracted to that. I learned to sail in the 70s on small boats, and kind of part of it's nostalgia, I suppose.
And what's the regime, do you think, from here on? Because obviously you're in the sun as well, so everything's against you, it seems.
I've been amazed how the varnish goes off so quick. But I took her straight back to Bearwood, and she did 8 coats of Ep7, a Dutch varnish, a natural tong oil varnish. I'm hoping that's going to be once every 8 to 10 years, and then every year now it's a quick sand down and 2 coats, which that'll be 2 days' work. So it's not terrible. It's not.
Now I know you're just starting on down below. Give us an idea of what the plans are there.
Well, yet to be fully designed, but essentially it's cosmetic, but deep cosmetic. It wants a really good working through, and then I'm not planning to make any major changes, just giving it a really good makeover. And some of the wood needs attention and a lot of paint.
One thing I was interested in you were saying is that with a wooden boat, you need to keep it in the water and keep it moving. Is that your plan? What's your plan for sailing?
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't like being out for more than 12, 14 days. If she's drying out where she's always wet, then problems can ensue. So that's about the maximum. As far as the topsides are concerned, when she hasn't sailed for a while, until she gets wet again, 2 or 3 days, she self-seals. But it shrinks, of course, and there's no corking, so it's just the way it is from the outside. But it seems to be fine. I mean, you have to get used to the bilge pump going. It may go while you're on here, but it typically every 3 or 4 hours it'll pump out a bucket of water, and it's entirely normal for a wooden boat.
And what other things then, you know, are sort of particular to a wooden boat? I mean, you've got that, the fact that it's going to take on water. Things like having a bow thruster. I mean, that's you can't do it.
No, I'd love one because she's not easy to manoeuvre. Astern in particular, she's got an offset prop coming one side. Well, it just angles out one side of the rudder. It's near.
Goes one direction and not the other.
She'll go really well. I can get the nose round to port, but if I need to get the nose to starboard, but you just plan for it. You know, you just spring off, or you make a plan. You know you're going to be doing. She's got high freeboards, so she catches the wind a lot. You get used to coming in marinas and people thinking you're an idiot. That's what happens, because every time you come here, you know, you're up and down, checking out, trying to make a plan, and then the plan might not work. It's my plan eventually to circumnavigate on Amy Rose. That's the plan. I want to do 2 or 3 longer passages first, just to, you know, really get to know her and see how she handles in heavier seas.
It's a little bit about this place.
It's beautiful, isn't it? It's just really interesting. It's like a little unknown jewel. I mean, we see now the cruise ships coming in more. I can understand why, because we've got this lovely mix of Roman history, the old forts, and the Moors were here, and it's a very Spanish feel. It's not overrun with tourists. Of course, I'm one of them, but you know, and it's I like it here.
I said when we sailed in here that I wanted to visit a fort at the top of the hill on one side of the marina.
Like a precarious path.
It is a precarious path. So we took a climb. It's possible we went the wrong way. There's a path here.
So what you're saying is this is where we should have come?
Yeah, this is the path. That is a climb. We made that up.
That was more fun.
The path did lead somewhere, but the fort turned out to be a 19th century structure, which I guess very few people come to now. I'm not sure how we get around it though. I don't really fancy walking across that.
Yeah, that's all been washed away.
And it's also possible the storm of a few days ago washed away the best approach. Here, I think this was a path, and now it isn't. It's all got washed away.
Yeah, there's not much left of that. Should be able to, if we can get to the bottom of it, there's probably some Roman coins to be had.
Yeah, I think I'll bring my snorkel for those. It's a bit freaky. Yeah, well, it's a train track, I reckon, or some kind of track for mining. I think this is how you get to the low road. So you don't think it's mining of any sort? What do you think it is then?
No, it's just a way of getting through, isn't it?
Over there, through there. It's not on the main tourist trail for sure, but if you are into war history and fancy exploring, this is great. It does look a bit freaky. I mean, it's clearly disused. What on earth do they use this place for?
Well, it's got to all be military, but yeah.
Yeah.
Very odd that they've got all these tunnels. I suppose oh yeah. Wow. Okay.
No, get out.
Yeah, of course. Jesus, it's dark.
Yes, I think I might give this one a miss. As long as it's out, I'm happy-ish.
It's dark.
It's too dark.
I'll take your sunglasses off. Helps. Oh God. Well, see what you mean. You must have trodden on something.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so weird.
Oh my god, it looks like a prison ground.
I reckon this is where they had their big guns. So if anyone came round the corner here trying to take Cartagena,
Gone.
gotcha.
Doesn't help.
How to climb out of a gun emplacement.
How not to.
There we are. How to get out of a gun, please. Elegantly. Not.
Mind your head.
Okay.
This is rock climbing.
Yeah. This is how we abuse our children on holiday. Oh! Back to the festival, and this is the celebration of Hannibal's march over the Alps with his elephants. And this is the entire history of the battles for Cartagena over the past 2,000 years or more. There were a lot of spectators for this night, but still you can get a place on the top of the castle for free. And despite the fighting below, it is all good fun. Yeah, it really has been amazing. That last battle, it was like everyone was there.
Well, it has been all week. It's not really a tourist thing. It's just people come in, dress up and have a good time.
I am now looking forward to getting out and about and doing a bit more sailing. It's a good place to sail, isn't it? Here?
Yeah, we can get over to the Balearics pretty easily. So any time that it's good during the winter, we're going to be off and exploring.
Meanwhile, I hope you liked our film. If you did, thank you for watching and do give us your comments.
And remember to subscribe and ring that bell.